let's talk about my 2025 reading list. Like a train. 2024 was not a good reading year at all for me, so I decided to make a list that is very intentional. There's no rereads on the priority list, as well as books that I have put into categories. I am very much a mood reader. That's why I only have a few books. I think I have like 6. This last book series that I read, that was a very impulsive choice and I ended up liking it very much. Starting off January, I read 3 books in total. So the first one was also on my priority reading list. It's called How Kyoto Breaks Your Heart, and I gave that I think 4 or 5 stars. It was a nice read. It was a memoir, non-fiction, about losing a friend and also living in Tokyo. So I enjoyed that a lot. And then I also read Red Rising, which is a sci-fi dystopian book, one of my favorite genres ever, if not the favorite genre. So it's about 6 books in the whole series, but the first 3 are a trilogy, like its own trilogy, and then the rest is like a continuation, but these 3 kind of their own set. So I read these, and once again, 5 stars for the whole series. For February, I wanted to read romance this month. So first up is, well, not first in order, but the first book I'm going to talk about for February is this book, Beach Read. I'm actually filming a reading vlog soon, I think maybe starting Friday or something. But this book is very much on my TBR for February, especially because it's the month of love. That's the month for romance. So I got this book last year, but I just was waiting for the right time to read it. I read The People Who Meet on Vacation in 2021. And I didn't enjoy it much, but also I had just finished reading The Unhoneymooners. So random, but I have a theory that if you like The Unhoneymooners, you probably don't like People Who Meet on Vacation. But I also made that up. It's just something, an observation, a hypothesis I'm still working on. This beach read, I have high hopes for this. This has been on my wish list. Yesterday as well, I started 2 books accidentally. Actually, I started maybe last night. It was just last night. What? The only night? Something like that. And the writing was so jarring. Like, I did not enjoy that writing at all. But I was really trying to get through it because people have high reviews about this book, good things to say about that book, but the writing is too much. Like, it's very jarring. I don't know. I don't like when people try to be too comedic or whatever. Like, please just tell us the story. It's so incoherent. Like, the sentences, no, not for me. And so I read The 7-Year Slip, which is also on my TBR. It's romance, but also fantasy, whereas the beach read is a bit more realistic. So that's why I have put them on there for romance. And then I started this one yesterday. I also started it just after the 7-year read because I was leaving the house and I grabbed this Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from Birmingham jail. Let me just say, like, I have been enjoying this so much, and I'm only on page 10. I don't know how many pages this is, I don't want to find out. I feel like it's giving me, how can I say it, like things you inherently know. I think things we inherently know as people, at least if you're kind of like socially aware. I mean, if you're not ignorant, like if you're not racist and stuff like that. But he kind of has like these sharp words and structured thoughts. So it's really nice to read from him. For example, if someone asks you, why do people protest? Do you know what answer you'd say? You'd probably be like, to raise awareness. But then he says, where is it? So he calls it non-violent direct action. Non-violent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and foster such a tension that a community which has constantly refused to negotiate is forced to confront the issue. I'm like, wow, wait, oh yeah, that's why that works. Because I don't know, like, raise awareness, like, okay. At the same time, like, obviously I knew this because during the BLM protests, like, that's the only way. I think the other officers were also arrested through the protests. It kind of forces the people in power to act. But I don't know, I just like the way he said it. So yeah, this is my current read as well. Once I finish The 7-Year Slip, I will be starting. Let's get into the rest of the 2025 TBR. The categories are my favorite genre, speculative fiction. I found out it's called speculative fiction because I could never tell if it's like fantasy, sci-fi, but the whole category is speculative fiction. That includes your dystopian, fantasy, kingdom, Hunger Games, everybody is in here. Second category is literary fiction, which I had said I want to read a lot more of in 2025. Next is something to make me laugh, romance, contemporary, like feel good. Next is a non-fiction essay. Non-fiction essays, even though I already read that in January, but that wasn't intentional because I didn't know it was non-fiction until I started reading it. And then once again, I mentioned at the beginning of the year that I want to read more Korean, Japanese, and Chinese authors. I kind of wanted to zone in on these three just because I've enjoyed the reading style so far, and I want to lean more into that like calming, moody. I think I'll put the books here, the ones I enjoyed, and I wanted to follow that same path. That's the fifth and final category. Starting off, I have my speculative fiction genre. Number one is He Who Has Never Known Men. This book has been trending a lot, and I really think I could enjoy it. I think it's dystopian. I believe it's about women who live in a society without men or something like that. It's like a secret type of vibe where they don't know what else is going on around them. I think I saw someone reference that on Twitter. I could be very wrong. And then the second one is Clara and the Sun, which is also a dystopian vibe, science fiction, but from my understanding, it's not as fast-paced as the YA type of science fiction, like that type of vibe where people are like trying to dismantle the top people. In Clara and the Sun, I'm not quite sure what it's about, but there's some very good reviews. And then the next genre is literary fiction. I selected Sorrow and Bliss for literary fiction. So a little Goodreads snippet says this novel is about a woman who knows there's something wrong with her, but she doesn't know what it is. So not much being told about this book. I'm kind of entering blind, which is how I like to enter my books. I don't want to know what the plot is about until I see it for myself. Next in the literary fiction genre is Isaac and the Egg. They say it's about sorrow, joy, friendship, and love. Those are like my 4 favorite things to read about, grief included, so I think that's like sorrow. But yeah, essentially it's like a comedy, which could also fall into that feel-good genre I was talking about. It's just that they say it has sorrow in it, so that's why I didn't include it solely in the feel-good genre. And then for non-fiction essays, I have Sister Outsider, which is a collection of essays. I forgot how this was marketed to me, but I believe it is about like friendship and stuff like that, or love, like friendship, love, or that type of vibe. And then it also has like an educational aspect to it. So I specifically chose Sister Outsider because I've tried to read books like, what's that one popular trendy one, Dolly something, the one by Dolly Elder, yeah, Everything I Know About Love, which is, yeah, it was okay. I haven't finished it, and I think Sister Outsider will be a refreshing one because it is also by a black woman, which I feel like a lot of essays, well, besides bell hooks, but yeah, like I don't see a lot of non-fiction black women essays writers, so I'm looking forward to that one. I also want it to be in a physical copy. I want to be annotating as I go. The Korean, Japanese, Chinese genre, and so far I haven't finalized what books I want to read in this genre. I am bouncing around some ideas. For example, I have Crying in 𝗦𝗢𝗔𝗟𝗦. I actually started this in 2022, not 2023, 2023, yeah. And then I got distracted because that was just a horrible year. I was very anxious at the time, and then I thought it was gonna be a comedy, but it was about grief, and I was like, oh, okay, not now. And I think right now could be a good time to read it. Crying in 𝗦𝗢𝗔𝗟𝗦 is this lady who lost her mother. It's a memoir, so she talks about her experience, I guess, dealing with that. In the little pages that I read, she was talking about how she goes to the 𝗦𝗦𝗔𝗟𝗦. I think she's mixed, like she's between 2 cultures or something, like Asian or something like that. And then the 𝗦𝗦𝗔𝗟𝗦 kind of represents her Korean culture because that's where her mom used to take her. About growing up mixed race, I think. So I don't know about that one. I have heard good things about it. That's why it's still on the table. So there's no such thing as an easy job, which is about this woman who quits her job, and then she goes to a job center and she asks for, it's close to home, no reading, no writing. So that's like the premise of the book, but it sounds funny as hell. I think I might just go with this one. The Memory Police is another option, but it's also dystopian, and I feel like I already have 2 dystopian novels in my TBR, and this will be the 3rd one on my TBR, and I just read a whole series just this year, so I think that's too much as it's my favorite genre, but it also does look very good, so I don't know. This is my 2025 reading list. I will maybe list it out here. I hope these books also sound appealing to you and can help you structure your own TBR, and I will see you in the next video or on TikTok.